Hello guys, it's Rachel. What's up? Welcome back. And today we are tackling the latest YouTube trend, which happens to be edible school supplies. But you guys know we are not hopping on any bandwagons unless we're gonna make it kawaii. We've got a really cute ruler, some notebook paper, chalkboard brownies, and apple macarons. And I think that edible school supplies would be a great idea because we all hate that feeling when you're sitting in class and your stomach grumbles, and it's always at the worst time when it's completely silent in the classroom. But if you can eat your ruler or your paper, then problem solved. And just a quick disclaimer, you can probably tell we're erring more on the side of edible rather than school supplies. So even though you might not be bringing cookies to school to use as your rulers, I still think that these are a lot of fun to make and I hope you guys enjoy. And before we get started, if you like this video, then make sure you tap that subscribe button and turn on notifications for new videos every single week. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. First up, let's make the apple macarons. To start off, in a large bowl, you'll need 3 egg whites, and just beat those until they get nice and foamy. See some bubbles in there. Perfect. Now add in a 1/4 cup of sugar, and just continue mixing for about 6 to 8 minutes. This does take a little bit of elbow grease and patience, but I believe in you. Once that's looking good, you can add in a bit of red food color, and then go ahead and mix that all through. And then for our dry ingredients, sift out 1 cup of almond flour, and then 2 cups of powdered sugar. Once you've got a nice tall sugary mountain, smash it down and whisk it all through. Then we can toss this in with our wet ingredients, and we can start the macarons. I took Mandarin in high school. Basically, we're gonna start mixing these together, but you wanna be careful with how much you mix it. The consistency should be something like magma, and it'll flow off your spatula slowly but continuously. So once you've hit that consistency, we can start piping out the macarons. You can find the apple template on the blog post, and I'll just start piping these out. It's kind of like a really fat heart, like a heart without the point at the bottom, or it's like 2 Milanos put next to each other. You get the idea. It's shaped like an apple. So just continue cranking those out, get all your apples down on the baking sheet, and then grab yourself a little pick and smooth them out. This is kind of optional, it doesn't make a big difference. Then bang your tray down on the counter to get rid of any air bubbles. And now, the very important step. Let your macarons rest on the counter for about 30 to 45 minutes, and this will help your macarons develop those feet on the bottom that we all know and love. You know these guys are ready to go when you can tap the macaron and your finger doesn't stick. Then bake those at 300 degrees for 12 to 13 minutes, and then once they come out of the oven, they should look like this. Let them cool down completely, and then we can fill them with some buttercream. Recipe for this is over on the blog post, but just fill those guys up, get them sandwiched, and start piping on the kawaii faces. So I've just got some royal icing in a piping bag here, and I'm just adding on the different features. And you can find the recipe for this royal icing over on the blog post, by the way. So I'll just add on the face, the leaf, all that good stuff. And now our apple macarons are finished. So cute and actually really simple too. And next up, let's make the chalkboard brownie. This is my favorite brownie recipe. They have that perfect balance between cakey and fudgy. So good. So to start off, in a large bowl, you'll need 2 sticks of butter, and go ahead and melt that down in the microwave. Then once you've got that nice and smooth, add in 2 cups of sugar. So yeah, this is not a low sugar recipe per se, but it is delicious. And it makes quite a few brownies too. And now add in a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, and go ahead and mix that all through. And it should turn nice and dark and chocolatey and glossy. That is looking gorgeous. So now we can just crack in 4 room temperature eggs and just mix them in one at a time. And you might be noticing that this is a 1 bowl recipe, which is awesome, so you don't have to do too many dishes in the end. Next up, add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix. And then follow that up with 1.5 cups of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then go back in there with your spatula and just get that all combined. Once you've got that ready to go, pour it on into a 9 by 13 inch pan that has been greased and lined with parchment paper, and then spread it all out. And just a quick tip, it is super helpful to have those binder clips on the sides just to hold back that parchment paper. Otherwise, sometimes the oven fan blows the parchment paper over and it sticks to your brownies and makes them all uneven. So definitely go for the binder clips. Just make sure they're metal though so they don't melt in the oven. That wouldn't be so good. And then bake that off at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Once that's out of the oven, let it cool down completely, and then remove it from the pan. And next up, let's frost our brownies. So I've got some green frosting in a piping bag here, and I'll go ahead and get the whole surface covered, and then smooth it out with my offset. And you can also scrape off any excess frosting there, get it nice and even, and then I'll go in with a sharp knife and just trim these sides. And now we can divide this into 16 equal pieces and start to decorate. So start off by piping some brown frosting for the wood border, Then pipe on your kawaii faces in a whole bunch of different expressions. And then I also piped on some pink cheeks. To finish these off, I just added on some math. Now in my last video, I went pretty easy on you guys for the math, but today, we've got logarithms, we've got trigonometry, we've even got a graph in there, and they say you are what you eat, so hopefully if you eat these brownies, then you learn math. That's what I tell myself. It's not true, but you don't tell me that. But now our chalkboard brownies are finished. So cute, and best of all, so tasty. And next up, let's make the sugar cookie dough for the notebook paper and ruler. Into a large bowl, you'll need 2 sticks of nice soft butter, and just get those nice and creamy. Then throw in 1 cup of sugar, and mix that until it is nice and light and fluffy. Then you can add in 2 room temperature eggs, and just mix those in 1 at a time. Follow that up with 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and give that all a whirl. And then over in a separate bowl, you'll need 3 cups of flour, along with a ½ teaspoon of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of salt. And then go in there with your whisk and just get that all combined. Once you've got that ready to go, you can add it in with your wet ingredients. And I did this in 2 additions, just so the flour wouldn't go like flying all over the place. And you might have to finish it off by hand or with a spatula, depending on how messy you're willing to get. And then I'll divide this into 2 separate bowls for our 2 different cookies. And for the first bowl, I'll just dye it yellow with some yellow food color. And I'll add a little bit of white food color to the second batch. Then you can drop these onto some plastic wrap and go ahead and wrap them up and refrigerate for 30 minutes. Once they come out of the fridge, you can roll them out using a rolling pin. Link to this one is over on the blog post, but I love this one. Seriously guys, it's like life-changing to have one of those rolling pins with the measurement thingies on the sides. This way your cookies come out perfectly evenly. Highly recommend. And then to cut these out, I'm going to use a pizza cutter and a ruler. I'm not making any exact measurements here, just because that would definitely take a long time to do. So I just went ahead and eyeballed it. Drop those onto a parchment paper lined baking sheet, and then bake those off at 350 for about 9 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on them though. Once they come out of the oven, they should look something like this. And then to go ahead and decorate these, I'm going to mix together some clear vanilla extract with some blue gel food color, and then I'll just paint that on for the notebook lines. Repeat this process with some red food color, and add on the little margin on the side. Next up, I'll pipe on the kawaii faces using some black frosting, and I also popped on some kawaii cheeks too. To finish these up, I just added on some grades on the sides, and I made the faces correspond to the letter grade, so the A+ is all happy, and the F1 is a little bit disheveled. And then the ruler cookies are a pretty similar process. I'll just go ahead and roll out and then cut the dough. And I just made these 4-inch rulers. So just place those on your baking sheet, and once again bake at 350 for about 9 to 10 minutes. Then once they come out of the oven, let them cool down completely. And then I'll use a ruler and a black edible ink marker to add on the ruler details. To finish these off, I'll just add on the kawaii face. And now all of our kawaii school supplies are finished, super fun to make, and super tasty too. And now that our treats are finished, let's hop into the outro. So that is how you make these edible school supplies, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you like this video, make sure you tap that subscribe button and turn on notifications for new videos every single week. You can also follow me on social media at KawaiiSweetEats. The Etsy sticker shop is right up there, and my last video is right down there. Alright, well take care guys, love you all so much, and I'll see you all back here very soon. Bye guys!